There we go. What's going on, everybody? Sorry I'm a little late here. One of our grant recipients actually just called me, so I thought I would talk to them and put their priorities a little first, so I apologize for that. Also, guys, it's the 7th episode of the Durso Dispatch, so pumped to actually be here and do this with you guys again every week. It's pretty good. Each week I try to come with you with a new haircut, a new beard length to keep you on your toes, because I know that I can't be on mine, so someone needs to do that for me, so I appreciate that, guys. This is probably presented by the Kelly Brush Foundation. I am your host, Greg Durso, and the program director at the KBF. If you missed any of our episodes, guys, go back to our Facebook page. They're all on there for your viewing pleasure. I think they're all awesome. They're going to get more awesome all the time. So thanks for viewing, guys, and thanks for being here. This is a lot of fun to do this. So each week, as you guys know, I'll be on here with a new guest, someone, one of our grant recipients, people in the adaptive sports world, talking about the current scope of their life in this crazy alternate reality, interesting things they've done in the past and continue to do, but honestly, most importantly, introduce them to you guys as a resource for the future. What's going on, Grit? What's going on, guys? Liam, I saw you guys were in here. Say hello for a second. So this week, I have the great distinction and pleasure of having the director of Grit Freedom Chair, KBF vendor of ours. They make a really cool piece of adaptive equipment. He also likes to take long walks to the Hollywood sign in the wrong foot attire, so let's give him grief for that. And he's also now my friend and just one of the nicest guys, honestly, you will ever meet. So if I can get Michael Halpert on here, that would be amazing. Let's see if I can pin him in here. Boom. All right, this should be working. Wait for it. Waiting.
You got it?
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah, you're in. Welcome.
Cool. I got a surprise for you.
Oh, do you? I'm a little nervous right now.
You see the shirt that I'm wearing right here?
Ooh, Penn State Nittany Lions, my alma mater. Thank you for that.
I got you.
You really are a good friend. I knew this. I knew you would come through for me.
Yeah. I had to hide that during our pregame.
Oh, that's too good. So Mike's also been the biggest critic of my show. So I had to give him on here for a fair shake and put him under the criticism and what it's like to be on here under this amazing spotlight that I have. It's a tough job, but someone has to do it, Michael. So just know that.
Happy to join.
So what's been going on? How's life down in Boston? What have you been up to? What's going on?
Luckily the sun's out. So biking has been a lot better. It's been good to go on some hikes. Get some runs going on. It's definitely interesting. You and I have talked about this of like you and I usually are traveling all around the country and so many trips. It's kind of been nice of like the other day I was out at a lake and I was like, man, I was supposed to be running around doing this or doing a hike or so it's kind of been nice to just kind of stop for 2 or 3 months. Obviously helping people get outside, which has been amazing. So many, my phone's been ringing. So many people are wanting to get outside, which is.
That's so good. I mean, what is it like living the city life? I mean, like obviously up here in Vermont, like we're allowed to go out and play and be outside and do these things more often now. But I know Boston's probably pretty strict. So what's it going? What's like what it's like over there?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually kind of cool. Yesterday I went down by the Charles and like people were in like different groups. It was kind of like, if you going to Central Park and you just see people in groups. So for the extrovert, it's kind of weird because like I can't just talk to strangers as normal. But I think it's starting to get back to more reality. People are starting to kind of, really feel it. I think the niceness, like the community that's really coming out of Boston, I think it's cool. Talking to our neighbors who I've never been home to be able to talk to. But being in a city, it's definitely hard to run with a mask on. It's definitely hard to like bike with a mask on and you're just like, everything's hotter. But I think there's been a night. I've just been grateful. It's been grateful to kind of slow it all down.
That is good. I know how hard it is for you not to talk to people and strangers on the road. So I know how tough this really is for you right now. And I'm feeling your pain because I'm right there with you on that stuff. So I get it.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell the audience here like a little bit about what you do, what your company does and what you guys make?
Yeah. So I'm the director of the Grit Freedom Chair. It's an all-terrain wheelchair. It's developed to be out of bike parts. So ease of use could be there. And it's allowed people to do a lot of things, go on hiking trails, just go through the grass with a lot more ease. I had a friend of mine join us for beach volleyball, which is really cool, but like just getting out there. And so we've done this for, started as a student project at MIT, using it as, using the torque, from the levers to allow people to go over different terrain, and having a setup there where someone's casters aren't being caught. And it's honestly, what's been really cool is how many different people it helps.
Yeah.
You know, to think about if we weren't doing what we were doing, how many people just wouldn't have any of these memories or any of these experiences with their families, has been amazing. You know, my job is to problem solve with people, help people, how do they fund it? How do they get that experience? And it's been a joy, man. It's been awesome.
That's awesome to hear. I love, and you're so good at complimenting your team across the board plus stuff. Everyone always thinks that Mike actually invented the chair. He did not, unfortunately.
I did not. My team did. It's
But your
great.
team
My
did,
team
and
had it.
you make it very clear, and I love to see that when we're out in the streets.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give a quick shout out to Madman Pool. Actually, Mike? Have you met Dave Pool before?
I don't know.
You should put him on your list of people to meet. He's a good dude.
All right.
So it's good. What's going on, Seth? Anyway, so let's move it on here a little bit. So this kind of leads into, I guess, how we kind of first got involved, right? So you work for a company that makes adaptive sports equipment, the Grit Freedom Chair. And before I started working at KBF, I was on the grant committee for, well, I guess for one cycle before that. And all of a sudden, this Grit Freedom Chair kind of popped up in all these applications. And I thought I was pretty well versed in the adaptive sports world and trying equipment out and doing these things. And I had never actually had really seen one or used it. And it was interesting how a lot of people had to start applying for that. So then basically, right, so I started in last March or May-ish, and we kind of started crossing paths at our Inspire event, at the Billies Expo down in Boston, and people just really take to your chair and the equipment you guys have. And, you know, between the spring and fall cycle that year, I thought it'd be really cool for our team up at KBF to actually get an opportunity to try the chair. I think it's always important that we're well-versed and we're knowledgeable about the stuff that we want to give out in the money-wise. So Mike and Tish were so grateful to actually come up to Vermont to our office and hang out for the day and let us use the chairs. It was such a crazy, awesome experience to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys made us have to drive to Burlington, Vermont at the end of leaf peeping season. So thank you for that. I think we spent some time. If you guys haven't, you know, ever gone by their office, it's beautiful. And especially in fall, it was awesome. And I think it was really cool to have your whole team, and you had new members at the time.
Yeah.
Who were like, here's adaptive sports equipment, right? And coming from me, who I had never worked with adaptive sports equipment before Grit, it's really eye-opening to see how different equipment is and how helpful it is. And I think that was an awesome thing that you and the team put together. Yeah, I said team. You know, to get out and do. And, you know, Zeke is a kid. So to have him just go around and tool around it was hilarious. You know,
it's good. And your customer service too, it's not only just us. I mean, you do this, I mean, for all your people, right? So like anyone that you guys do this to, you have all this great customer service. You guys are behind them 100%. And you know what it's like trying to fit these people and get them what they want to have.
Yeah, I mean, you know it. I mean, we've talked about these. I mean, I know, you know, majority of our riders, I know, and you know, having to help them any way possible. And it's been, I mean, especially in today, and we don't have, right, especially in today's time, but like the joy that people are feeling right now, your recipients are. I mean, there's a reason why you picked up that call at 11, you know, at 12:59, because like that joy, they are so excited to talk to you, and that's awesome.
No, it is great, and it's cool that, I mean, like, as you know too, and you're more in the world. I mean, you know, level of injury, like whatever you have, like it's so important you have your gear dialed in, and to have, you know, not be able to go to a bike store and get the stuff fixed or like talk to people. It's so hard when you're in one spot, like in Boston, and do this, and you guys do such a good job of reaching out to those people and getting what they need to fit right. Otherwise, the equipment is so hard to use. So so kudos to you guys to be able to actually troubleshoot that and do that, because that's the most important thing when it kind of comes to sports, and obviously your chair itself too as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the really cool thing. You know, Alex and our support team has done an awesome job to know that people can call us right away and we'll do it. Sometimes they call me. They need to call Alex because Alex is the one who will actually do it. So it's more efficient to do that. But, you know, we've had, you know, somebody's flying, you know, you've flown with a chair, you've flown with equipment, things get damaged. And the fact that somebody knows that we will take care of them right away and make sure that their trip is a great experience is awesome. And yeah, you know, the fact that a lot of things can be, you know, engineered that can be taken care of as a bike shop. For someone like yourself who is a very, you know, gearhead, you can do it yourself and dial it in. But the fact that if someone has no idea how to use equipment and they're new to adaptive sports equipment altogether, the fact that it's that simple and that our team is so supportive, whether it's videos or sitting on the phone for 20, 30 minutes, following through, making sure they feel comfortable. You you've tried so much equipment. Some people haven't. So for their first equipment, to make sure that they have a good experience will open up so many doors.
It's good. And Mike's available day or night, so feel free to call him at like 10 o'clock at night. He'll totally help you out. It's great. So you can even FaceTime if you want to. It's even better. He'll totally answer it for you. So he's good that way. And lead peeping is a thing. I didn't know lead peeping was an actual thing until I came up here. So
Never knew that. We didn't do that in Florida, North Carolina. That was not.
I just learned that myself from Long Island. So it happens. It's crazy. Taking a step back here a little bit, I think this is like actually something the two of us have actually really never talked about, which is odd because we talk all the time. We talk so much. Just actually not to each other, but just we talk so much. So what's your story, right? So you were, before all this, you were down in Florida doing personal training for professional athletes.
Yeah. So
doing mindset coaching too.
Yeah. So I was working with kids with learning disabilities. I was working with mindset coach for athletes. Working in South Florida is a haven for athletes. Shout out to like Eddie Jackson, the Chicago Bears. So those are the kids I was working with. Moved up to North Carolina, was working with baseball and softball players and coaches, learning how to talk to each other, learning how to have a good mindset for it. Coming up to Boston to be close to my brother, my 3 nephews, I wanted something that had that same kind of personal connection. Had no idea I'd be as involved in the adaptive sports community as I am right now.
So did you realize, like, when you took the job, like this is adaptive sports world, like, were you like naive to it? Did you know anything about it, or like how was it a big learning curve? Like, what was it like for you?
1,000% naive. Not even 100. I mean, it was. I think my second week there, my coworkers my team were going to the Inspire event in 2018. And I was like, what is this? And they were so nicely dressed. And I was like, what is going on here? I had no idea. And it was really cool to really get to know, what KBF did. I think, Avita Rush comes to my mind as one of the first, because I had gone out and, I was usually talking to people on the phone. So the fact that I was going out to Colorado and doing hikes, or doing that hike in Portland with unlikely hikers where I met Avita, that was such a huge change. Because originally I was just I'm trying to get people outside. My goal is to help people get outside from, whether it was MS, whether it's somebody who has difficult walking, spinal cord injury, cerebral palsy. But now it's okay, with you guys, with High Fives, with Challenge Athletes Foundation, and I think it really started no barriers. It really started at that, and really being really a part of the community and kind of jumping full in has been so rewarding. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think from my perspective of it, and I maybe others too, but I mean, coming in like that, obviously a blank page, I have no idea, but immersing yourself in it and really caring. So I know obviously for me, this is my life. This is what I'm so passionate about. So it's really cool for me to see other people, especially able-bodied people, kind of jump in the scene and be understanding and knowledgeable and figuring this stuff out and helping us do things we wouldn't be able to do. So without you guys, Tish and Ben and Alex, the rest of your team and all the other vendors we have and all the other people that make these sports equipment, we're so thankful that you guys take the opportunity to do this and engineer this stuff, because we wouldn't be able to go out and do what we want to do. So for us, it's and especially for me, it's huge. It's awesome. And I get it's hard for me to put into words sometimes how important that is to me, because without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do what we want to do. And so for us, it's hey, thank you. Hopefully I'm not speaking too generally for people, but I think a big thank you to you guys from that standpoint. I mean, and then from moving on to that, that's now that you've been in this, and I always say it's, our mission is to get people active, and it's amazing, but it's also being active changes your life and it transcends just the sport that you're trying to do. So it's cool to hear you from an able-bodied perspective of what have you seen and how, what has that meant to you personally, and what have you seen?
Yeah. So Rustin on our team joined us, and we have Beyond the Pavement, which is an amazing Facebook group. And, if you're in it, you see people getting out however they can. And I think changing, we talk about it, right? We talk about it with KBF, spinal cord injury, a thing happens and you're looking at life differently. How you're acting is differently. I think the real cool thing for me with all of this has been working with people who there was an injury. There was something changed in their life slowly. They had an activity that they used to be able to do, and it's just getting slowly harder and harder. I think that's kind of been a huge thing as well. Kind of learning, getting people. I mean, look, I've been acting my whole life. My life has been completely different from the day I walked through Grit's door. The way I look at things, the way I've been grateful for just moments in general, I think have been amazing. I think I got so caught up I even forgot what you were asking there.
No, I mean, it's good. You're serious about it. I think, like, right. So you have examples of people you've seen like transcend just being able to go out there and do their being active, right? So like, it's great they're out there on the trails, do what they're doing, but like their life has actually like changed from this too, right? It's more than just being on the trail.
It is. I mean, and I think I see it with our community on a daily basis, on any of the groups that I'm in, on just Facebook, Instagram. No, none of them have gotten TikTok yet, which is fine. But it's, you know, it's so cool getting a kid out hunting with his family who've never done it. You know, Ty Hockett, right, is out hunting with his dog, and he's able to do it by himself. You know, Eric Chucklet, one of the recipient, he wrote us. He had a Triad grant. And I think it was last year, he wrote us and he goes, I took the chair out to the middle of the field. I was all by myself. Like, that might not mean anything to you guys sitting in your office in Boston, but that means the world to me. And for us to like have seen that on our team is just, it's amazing. It was, you know, we don't think that. I got asked, could I speak about,
Liam, yeah,
my
go for
mindset
it.
coaching? Cool. What's up,
Thanks,
Liam?
for
Yeah, so
questions.
I ran a program called Capacity Training. It was off my parents' program called 3D Learner, which was thinking kids who learn in 3D. So it was focus and timing training, and having that people could like learn about their goals. So, you know, hearing a demand from a coach sometimes makes no sense, you know, or like being told by your coach, don't swing, right? So like in your baseball leagues, if you had the bat on your shoulders on a 3-0 count and I told you to not swing, what would you probably do, Greg?
Swing,
totally swing. And your coach is going to be so bad at you, and you're going to throw the bat because you ended up like grounding into a double play, and all your coach wanted you to do was not swing. So kind of talking with players and coaches about that, about what their wording is, you know, worked with, you know, Georgia Tech and Arkansas softball, making sure how the coaches are talking about it as well as how the kids are and how the athletes are learning. And taking some steps on like making sure they know how to move their body at a very high level. How are they controlling? How are they slowing that down and moving their body?
Have you found that, actually, this is a good question to bring up, Liam, too, from that standpoint, but have you found that translated over like on the adaptive side, like when you're telling people about like the equipment or telling them how to use it, like do you consciously know like you would do that, or do you try to do that, or like it just kind of comes out because that's what you've been doing, or not at all?
I mean, I think I'm talking to probably one of the best athletes I've ever gotten my pleasure to work with.
Well, thank you, man.
But no, I mean, you do have to take a minute to understand the wording that you're using with somebody, especially when someone's doing an activity for the first time. You know, I think some of the things I've done is like giving them a realistic picture. So, you know, realistic expectations when somebody's using equipment for the first time. You know, if someone is using a manual chair and they're constantly doing this movement of the levers is going to be significantly different. So you're using different muscles. And yeah, the wording on that is huge. And as well as negative wording doesn't work.
Right.
You know, it puts such a, you know, and I think
especially in our world, like the negative wording is like even it's like doubles.
Well, I actually think that, you know, I think the really cool thing in the adaptive sports world is that like outside of it, people are like, oh my God, I can't say this. I can't say this. I can't say that. I can't use these wording. Like, actually you can. I mean, you can joke, you know, you could joke with your friend who's in a wheelchair. You know, they are a person. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing with this, you know, it's like knowing that you can be a person and be, you know, and treating somebody with that respect. I think the no's and the negatives are so different. You know, you and I talked about on our hike, we talked about aspiration versus inspiration. And I remember, you know, my first couple times I was on a hike with one of my friends. We were in Rocky Mountain National Park, and this one bro walked by her and was like, "You're an inspiration." And she's like, "Why am I an inspiration? Like, all I'm doing is doing a hike the same way that everyone else is."
Yeah.
And I think it's so powerful how words are used, you know?
It is, and actually this is kind of transitions to what I was going to talk about too. So kind of when we met up at the Abilities Expo in LA, and kind of that negativity, that no standpoint, which goes to show. I mean, I think so. Like Mike and I both knew we were going to be in LA for the Abilities Expo there for obviously for Grit and there for KBF. And I think like on our day or two before, I saw on Instagram one of my friends that lives in LA was like hiking the Hollywood sign. I was like, man, like that'd be so freaking cool, like the Hollywood sign. And in my head, like again, I was just kind of like, no, like how can I do that? It's just not gonna happen. So, well, I flew into flew into LA, and I literally land on the tarmac, and I like saw the Hollywood sign coming in, and I kind of just clicked. I'm like, I'm at a Builders Expo, like literally here for like look at adaptive equipment and then accessibility in life. I knew you guys were going to be there, and I literally from the tarmac texted you. What did I text you?
Hey, how about a Hollywood sign? How about a Hollywood sign hike in the morning?
What'd you say?
What was my response?
Well, I'm not going to say it over the this because it's inappropriate. But yes, you said yes.
Yes, I said yes with a lot of exclamation points.
And I think that's what's so cool. And my mindset was right there, like, no, that's what we're used to just thinking in general. Like these are things we just can't do, and that's why it's so cool to be able to say yes to these things. And so, well, we took a chair back from the expo, and the next morning we woke up, and what do we do?
Right, the Hollywood sign.
Which was really cool. And I think more important than that was it was cool to be obviously in the grit chair and out of my wheelchair. I mean, we literally left from my hotel room in the grit chair through the hotel, went in an Uber. We took it apart in the Uber, got there, and we literally hopped back in the chair and we hiked up. And I didn't need my chair, and I know it would have been a lot harder had I had my chair. I definitely like having the grit chair was awesome for the hike. It was exactly what it was meant to be for and why it was there. And I think that's why it was so cool to be able to have that in even a different environment than I was the first time I used it. And we actually had to leave the hike early because I wanted to keep going, but Michael had poor shoes on, and he was unable to finish the trek.
I wore my New Balance shoes have been so worn over the year that I didn't expect somebody to ask me to go on a hike, but I will always say yes to a hike. So I think I'll pack accordingly next time. My shoes were slipping.
Yeah, and of course, like right on point, like you were saying, you were on the hike before, and someone went by and said you guys are inspiration. Of course, we're there, and we get some brand new influencers come by and literally like stop us and ask what we're doing, and it's interesting because people see this stuff and they don't get it. I think it's really cool. And now you're just sporting my sunglasses. It's just
I really had to wear these because my friend Greg was like, "Oh, you don't have sunglasses for the hike? Like, let me give you these." So I was interviewed wearing. These are ridiculous.
Well, at least you could see it. At least you could see it. It's the most important part. But I think it's important to note that like people don't get to see this more often. They didn't understand what we were doing, and I think it just made the experience more ironic. Like I think the whole thing was we're at a Builders Expo in LA. We're trying to showcase accessibility and things that are important in your life and what works really the best. And then now we hiked the Hollywood sign. People were interested in it and like literally made a video to see what that looks like. And it's kudos to you guys and things like that. You have had the chair there and you're able to use it, and kind of just the impact that it actually has on people.
I think my favorite thing, I was talking with Tish about this yesterday, was that like there was not a doubt that we could have done that hike. And I think your joy of running around the whole expo of like, hey Mike, are you joining us? Like, hey John, you joining? Like who's joining us on this hike? It was awesome.
Yeah, I think that's the next thing I'm sure you guys love about it too. I mean, for me, it's fun being, like doing these, anything with a lot of people, all my friends that I usually do it with, but you really get the time to actually do a sport with everyone else, like in the same condition as you. So whether it's like mono skiing or playing basketball, or whatever it is, it's cool to be with more people in a chair with disability using the same thing because we understand it more. And as much as I am totally happy with the fact that I'm in a wheelchair, we're still a minority. Like when you're with other people, like it's just what it is. So it's cool to be around other people and in chairs doing the same thing because you lose that feeling and you can kind of have that camaraderie that everyone else understands to have that. And again, like just like any other data sports equipment, it's cool that you guys are doing that, enabling these group things to happen, to get people to join and get a different perspective of what it's like to be able to have that, because the feeling it's hard to actually put on paper what that feels like.
I think a really cool memory for me was when we were at Northeast Off-Road Adventures, and Tyler Ryan was there with the guys from Helen Hayes, and like it was three guys, all the spinal. Huh?
It was a good comment. People were like, "Yeah, they agree." So it's nice.
Three guys with spinal cord injury. All three of them were in the chairs. They're all moving on trails by themselves, and they're like, "Wait, this is just us. Like I'm not I'm just a part of this team. We're all moving the same speed." Was such a normalizing moment for me. It was awesome.
Yeah, Alice Mallard just showed me. She has a little trek gang she started over there in Colorado, so she gets the importance of having camaraderie groups together. So it's just so amazing that way. But just another side piece to that LA story. Before we went hiking the next day, we had to bring the grid chair back to the hotel so we could go. So Mike was in the chair, and I don't know if you guys have been to LA to the expo center, but it passes the Staples Center. You literally go right past the Staples Center.
If you choose to go that way, yes.
Well, yeah, if you choose to go that way. Well, that's the direction of the hotel. And the Lakers were in town, and I said to him, "Why don't we just go to a Lakers game?" Sure enough, we decided to do that, but instead I made Mike stay in his grit chair. It was around the entire facility, and being in the chair just to kind of get him acclimated to what it's like to be in a chair. And before you respond, I want to just make a little disclaimer. Mike did not take up one of the handicap spots or disabled spaces on the seats. I made sure that if someone did come, he would have stood up behind me. So I know how annoying that is when you go to a concert or a sports event and you go there and you're the only person like that looks like they have a disability in the section, and you're just like, what the heck? So just a disclaimer there. I definitely thought about that beforehand. But yeah, so what was that experience like being in a wheelchair with me at the Lakers game?
Knowing that nachos is not a good thing to eat in chairs. It's all about chicken fingers.
How to carry beers, very difficult.
Carrying the drink, you were like, yeah, that was hard. It was interesting. It was eye-opening for me. I love it. I also when I got up and got his food, I got to run into Travis Kelce. So that would have been pretty cool.
That was also funny.
Yeah, you took off the show. I think it was also cool that like you and I had we saw somebody with gummy bears. We're like, we're going on gummy bear hunt, and like I'm cranking the levers, you're surfing behind me.
That was fun too. I made him drag me behind that. That was actually a lot of fun.
I think also like on our way home when like I was getting tired because you were holding on to me, like we switched and we did like a nice transfer the next day. But I think
you sat in my wheelchair and I pulled you back.
I think it's really fun to have learned how that is, and really see it from someone's point of view. Also, we got to see LeBron James live.
That was awesome. That was pretty sweet to see. And I made you go in the bathroom too. You had to go in the bathroom with the wheelchair.
All right, get out of here. All right. Anyway, no, but that was a cool experience. I think Tish and the company has really learned a lot of experiences. Going on hikes and doing regular life experiences. I've gone on the T here. In Boston back in the day when we used to be able to go on those. Anything like that is just because when I'm talking to somebody on the phone and I can like relate to them in a way, it is super helpful.
No, it's great. You were a good sport about it. So it was that was something I'm going to remember for a long time because that was really funny just in general.
Also a great way to celebrate your birthday.
Yeah, well, that was also good. Thank you for that. So that was also good. Good old LeBron. But so this is actually interesting too, right? So was it last week? We were actually supposed to be in Colorado for a DSUSA conference, now Move United, new words, for their conference. And so you guys are supposed to be presenting there. I know that all of my travel has been canceled. I'm sure the same for you. But you guys had a big presentation there. You guys were supposed to talk about adaptive hiking, and you couldn't be there, not even in this virtual space. So just how did the conference go, and then what do you guys, right? Like you're actually trying to get this adaptive hiking programming going.
Yeah.
So I love to know more about that and let everyone else know like how that works and things from that standpoint.
So nothing like trying to have a 200-person hike be a Zoom presentation. So how do you get that feeling of a hike on a computer? So you don't. A lot of programs have never really thought about having hiking. And I think that was a really cool thing. There were over 350 participants in that. So I think our biggest thing is getting programs that Carly Pearson, who's a KBF recipient, is in a meeting right now with a program in Knoxville
nice.
To add freedom chairs for trail system.
Go Carly.
I think, yeah, Carly's crushing it.
She's awesome.
She's awesome. She, for the record, so in the time that she was a KBF recipient, she did Camino Santiago, which is there's an accessible trip. Happy to set you up with it. And she competed in the World Championships for the Paris Spartan out in Laughlin. All within a month of each other. So she's an amazing person as well as an amazing athlete.
That's awesome.
But working and making trails accessible is an interesting thing because if you have equipment and you have the right equipment, I think it's really cool. And I think really asking the adaptive sports community, asking adaptive athletes what they need, right? We talked about a lot of people have their freewheel. So like they can go on a hike. They just want to go on a hike. They might need a person. They don't need a 20-person rope team.
Yeah.
And I think 75% of the programs, whether it was like the VA, adaptive sports, rehab facilities, anything like that, they've just never been asked. They've never asked for that, I guess. But none of them have it.
No, it was cool to see. I think at the end of those conversations in the sessions, there's always a question and answer part, and you guys, I was in every conference, and you guys had like a huge. Question and answer was big for you guys, so it was really cool to see. How that works and how that sets up in the past. I know hiking is one of those weird things where, right, like we have road bicycles, we have like off-road hand cycles, you know, we've got like basketball chairs, we've got like action track chairs, like also we have all sorts of equipment, but like the simplest thing of like walking, going on a hike is what sometimes proves to be the hardest for us. So it's really cool to see how that's going to go from a programming standpoint, and how
I
you guys
think
kind of push that.
I think what's really cool is like Avita I was talking with. She goes on a lot of camps and trips with Adventures Without Limits outside of Portland, Oregon, and like she just uses her grit chair for those activities. You know, so I think what's really cool is like it'll open up so many different activities, which is just
Yeah, do you guys? I mean, like something we were talking about too. And I know you talked to kind of Quinn about this a lot, and like the national parks and the public parks. Like, do you guys see your equipment being there? Is that something you guys think about?
I would love for that. I mean, I would dream for that. I mean, I've been in Rocky Mountain National Park twice. Last 2 years actually on my birthday. Last year I did it by myself. The year prior I did it with a friend of mine who was in a grit chair, and we went almost all the way up to the top. You know, there were so many accessible spots that were empty, meaning not used.
Right.
So I think that would be really cool. I think, you know, it is. I think you don't want. Do you want a flat trail? Do you want a flat paved trail that has zero elevation?
No, well, you know me. I don't. But in the side note too, so if you have this ability, if you didn't know this, you get a free national parks pass for you up to 4 people. So just as a thing, if you guys didn't know that yet, go to your national parks and get one of those, because you get a free access pass to all the parks. And wouldn't it be cool if you guys had to get off road and there's a grid chair or some other piece of adaptive equipment there for you to go do that. So
before we get off of this, what hikes are we doing next? What hikes have you had in mind? You've had some.
I mean, you know me. I want to go all over the place. I want to go to Africa. I want to go to Europe. I mean, I want to go everywhere.
Where in Africa did you want to hike?
Dude, Kilimanjaro would be sweet. That would be super cool. I'm in on that. I just want to go on adventures these days. It's all I can think about. It's like going on these like ridiculously awesome adventures. So we also do a Spartan race. I thought you were gonna be my partner for a Spartan race, or you're not?
Yeah, we're doing that, right? We have to
be fit enough to keep up with me. Is that gonna be the problem?
Yeah, I think that's hard. I don't think I can. I got some athletes that you're gonna have to go against, man. So
I'm in. Sign us up. I'm always in for a challenge. So
that's once we're allowed to hit a Spartan race, we'll do that
for sure. And on that note, do you have any other thing you guys want to say? Anything else from the team? That you that you want to throw out there?
From my team.
As we're all judging you right now, what a poor performance has been for you on here.
I mean, I'll give a shout out to my workout partner from Boise, Idaho, Trandon Meckling. But no, I mean it's been awesome. Thank you guys. I think in my 2 years working with Grit, I think it's been really cool to see how much Kelly Brush Foundation has grown. I think you've been an amazing addition to your team. I know Whitney and everybody else up there in Berlin, you guys are doing such an awesome job. And I think, you know, you guys have made this all work, especially in this time. And I can't wait to see all these recipients, you know, get this. And we're extremely grateful to be a part of y'all, and support you all, and support all these athletes and everybody on this. What's up, Drazen? Anything
so
else?
low-key.
So low-key. It's my little brother from North Carolina.
Nice.
No, but anything else, happy to, you know, we're happy to help. And if people haven't gotten that yet from this interview and from us, reach out. We're happy to help in any means possible, any way possible. So please.
I wasn't kidding. You can literally call them at 10 o'clock at night.
Don't do that, but you can. You can.
No, it's good. And thank you guys for making such an awesome piece of equipment, and everyone else in adaptive sports world that makes these pieces of equipment manageable and access for us, because without you guys having these brain power and doing this stuff, we wouldn't be where we are. So I know Dave loves to go faster than I do. So
I think
Dave
once
wants to hop on one now.
I think that once this is all done, we're able to hop on a plane. I think you and I are flying out to Colorado to do some hiking with Quinn. I think.
I'm in. Sign me up.
That's more obtainable right now than a Spartan race or going to Africa. So
I think in the last 7 episodes I've signed on for a lot. So hopefully I can keep up with all this. But it's gonna happen.
Got it written right here.
A few weeks of not traveling, just like oof, gotta go do something.
I mean, Donna's gonna be up for a hike in LA next time you're out there. So
yeah. So I mean, listen, I'm always down to do whatever. So it's always good. So Michael Halpert, thank you so much for coming on here. I appreciate it. It's so good to have you, and thank your team, everybody else for doing what you guys are doing. So it's awesome. So I really appreciate it.
No, we appreciate y'all.
Thanks for taking the time out of your day at home to do this with me.
No problem. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Exactly. Later, bud.
Bye, guys.
What's going on, guys? Thanks everyone for joining in. I really appreciate it. Shout out to Bridget over there. What's going on? You see, Bridget has a freedom chair, so you can ask her questions about it if you like it. So, honestly, thank you guys for joining. It's awesome to be able to do this and talk to you guys. Any questions or any people you think you want to hear, want to talk to about any topics, shoot us a DM, shoot me a DM, let me know. I'm pumped to have you guys on here and talk about more of this stuff, and we can go from there. So, again, thanks for joining the 7th episode. Enjoy the weather. Hope it's nice for you guys. It's been like in the 90s here in Burlington, Vermont, which is like pretty wild right now. Trying to get my boat situated so I can do some wakeboarding. In the meantime, do some really good social distancing on the water. I think that's going to be key to my success in this upcoming future. So, guys, enjoy. I'll see you next Thursday, 1 o'clock, your favorite time. Until then, adventure awaits.